Hello, I'm Sebastian. Welcome to 9 Trees podcast. Today, I will summarize and review the book, Outsmarting the Sociopath. Next Door by Martha Stout, PhD, is a practical, cautionary guide to recognizing and resisting people who exploit others without remorse. Building on the author's clinical background and public discussions of antisocial behavior, the book focuses on everyday encounters rather than sensational crime stories. It addresses a chilling reality. Harmful manipulation often comes from someone close, a colleague, friend, partner, or family member who appears charming, competent, or even altruistic. Stout explains how conscience functions as an inner brake on cruelty, and how some individuals operate with little or none of that restraint. The book's value lies in translating psychological concepts into real-world warning signs and defensive strategies. Instead of encouraging paranoia, it promotes clear-eyed discernment, boundary setting, and self-trust. Readers are guided to separate guilt from responsibility, recognize tactics that hook empathy, and respond in ways that reduce risk. The overall message is empowering. You cannot change a ruthless manipulator, but you can protect your life from their influence. I will give you key takeaways from this book. Firstly, understanding sociopathy as a deficit of conscience. A central idea is that sociopathy is less about obvious villainy and more about a missing internal regulator. Stout frames conscience as the emotional and moral capacity that makes most people feel discomfort when they lie, exploit, or cause pain. When that brake is weak or absent, manipulation can become a lifestyle rather than an occasional lapse. This perspective helps readers stop expecting normal remorse, mutuality, or accountability from a person who repeatedly harms others. It also clarifies why arguments based on fairness or feelings often fail. The manipulator may understand rules intellectually, but not experience them as binding. The book encourages readers to focus on patterns of behavior rather than surface charm or sporadic kindness. If someone consistently uses others as tools, shows shallow guilt, and repeats the same harms with new justifications, the issue is not misunderstanding. It is a different operating system. By emphasizing this distinction, Stout equips readers to interpret confusing interactions more accurately and to release the exhausting hope that better explanations, more love, or more patience will awaken empathy that is not there. Secondly, common manipulation tactics and how they hook decent people. Stout highlights how ruthless manipulators rarely lead with cruelty. They typically lead with a persona that targets human strengths such as empathy, loyalty, and a desire to see the best in others. Readers learn to watch for tactics like pity plays, selective vulnerability, and urgent crises that demand immediate trust or resources. Another recurring tool is guilt, especially guilt that is disproportionate to your actual responsibility. By nudging you to feel selfish for having needs or disloyal for asking questions, the manipulator shifts the conversation away from their conduct and onto your character. The book also underscores how inconsistency can be weaponized. Alternating warmth with coldness keeps people chasing approval and doubting their own perceptions. Smear campaigns, triangulation, and subtle lies can isolate a target from supportive relationships, making the manipulator's narrative feel like the only one. Importantly, Stout presents these behaviors as learnable patterns. Once you see the structure of the tactics, you can respond with less emotion and more strategy, slow down decisions, verify stories, document key facts, and resist being rushed into secrecy or premature forgiveness. Thirdly, red flags in relationships, work, and family systems. The book applies its insights to the places where most people are vulnerable: intimate relationships, workplaces, friendships, and family dynamics. Stout encourages readers to pay attention to the mismatch between words and outcomes. A manipulative person may speak fluently about values, loyalty, or faith, while their actions repeatedly create harm, conflict, or dependency. In romantic contexts, red flags can include fast escalation, pressure to merge finances or commitments, and the steady erosion of your boundaries under the guise of love. At work, warning signs often show up as credit stealing, blame shifting, chronic rule bending, and creating rivalries that keep colleagues divided. In families, manipulation may be protected by tradition, guilt, or a shared story about who you are supposed to be. Stout's approach emphasizes that you do not need a formal diagnosis to take protective action. If the relationship repeatedly leaves you confused, fearful, depleted, or walking on eggshells, that impact matters. She also draws attention to how bystanders can be recruited, sometimes unintentionally, to reinforce the manipulator's power. Recognizing the social system around the person, not just the person, helps readers plan safer exits and build support. Fourthly, practical self-protection, boundaries, verification, and strategic distance. A major contribution of the book is its focus on what to do next. Stout encourages readers to shift from persuading to protecting. That often means clear boundaries, fewer justifications, and more attention to observable behavior. Instead of debating motives, the reader is urged to set terms and watch whether they are respected. Verification is another key skill. When someone's stories change, when promises are vague, or when there is pressure to keep secrets, checking facts becomes an act of self-care. Stout also presents emotional self-protection as essential, refusing to be pulled into endless arguments, not chasing closure from someone committed to confusion, and limiting access to your time, money, and personal information. In many cases, strategic distance is the safest path. That can range from low contact to a complete break, depending on risk and context. The book emphasizes planning, especially where shared children, finances, or workplaces make separation complicated. Readers are encouraged to build a support network, keep records when appropriate, and prioritize safety over social niceties. The goal is not revenge or domination. It is regaining stability and autonomy. Lastly, recovering trust in yourself after manipulation. After exposure to chronic deceit, people often struggle with shame and self-doubt. Stout addresses the emotional aftermath and the process of rebuilding confidence in your perceptions. Manipulators commonly rewrite history, deny obvious events, or accuse the target of being too sensitive. Over time, this can damage a person's ability to rely on their own judgment. The book reframes this injury. Being targeted does not mean you were foolish. It often means you had normal human empathy and optimism. Stout encourages readers to separate compassion from compliance. You can care about suffering in general while still refusing to be used. Recovery also includes learning your personal vulnerabilities, such as a strong need to be seen as kind, fear of conflict, or a tendency to over-explain. By naming these patterns, readers can protect them without becoming cynical. The book points toward healthier models of trust, where trust is earned through consistency, transparency, and respect for boundaries. As readers rebuild, they become less susceptible to future manipulation because they have clearer standards for behavior and are more willing to act on early warning signs. The result is a stronger sense of agency and calmer relationships. In conclusion, this book is best suited for readers who suspect they are dealing with a chronic liar, a coercive partner, a bullying manager, or a family member who repeatedly creates chaos without accountability. It is also valuable for therapists, coaches, HR professionals, and anyone who supports people leaving emotionally damaging relationships. The core benefit is practical clarity. By explaining sociopathic-style manipulation in everyday settings, the book helps readers stop personalizing mistreatment and start evaluating behavior patterns. That shift can improve daily life by reducing anxiety, preventing financial and emotional exploitation, and restoring a sense of control. You gain tools for setting boundaries, verifying reality, and deciding when distance is the healthiest option. Compared to many similar books, Stout's approach stands out for balancing psychological insight with actionable guidance. It does not rely on sensational cases or simplistic labels. Instead, it treats the reader as capable of learning discernment and making strategic choices. If you want a framework that validates your experience while also emphasizing concrete steps, this book is worth buying. It can shorten the time you spend trapped in confusion and speed up your return to safer, more respectful relationships. If you would like to support Martha Stout, PhD, you can buy the book through the Amazon link I've provided in the podcast description. After reading the book, please let me know what you think and share your thoughts. See you around.